Good evening and welcome. 6 seconds into the house, and we have Steve Pace here already. What an example of how to move forward. What the hell's on my eye? Not eye, the other eye. Got something in it, haven't I don't know. You have to bear with me. Bear with me. I've got something in my eye. It's still not right. Never mind. It's the other eye. I can't see on that side. Frank Casey, good evening to you. Peter Piper, good evening to you. Liam Vine, good evening to you. Graham Allison, good evening to you. And Christabel, good evening to you as well. Well, I was looking for someone. It's still not right. My eye's still not right, is it? It's the other eye, you silly fool. Huh. I washed them as well. I washed my eyes before I came. I've been doing gardening. They've had me gardening. Bloody gardening. Michael McLaughlin's in the house. Adam's in the house. Abigail French in the house. Tim Weston's in the house. Good evening to you all. So, this is the question. I was looking for someone to come in live with me today. I thought Adam would have rung me and spoke to me. I thought he would have rung and just said, "Come on, Chris, let's go live. Let's do a live together." Good evening, Tracy Dodds. So I'm not going to keep looking at my eye. There's something wrong with me. I don't know. It's like me digging for that. What? Digging for that? Jacuzzi. Yeah. Jacuzzi. I'm digging a hole for a jacuzzi. Yeah. I'm doing what the Romans did. I'm putting a fire underneath the jacuzzi. Good evening to you, Martin Lawrence. He's been busy as well. Else he would have done it. There you go. Anyway, I got enough people in here. Let's start talking about dogs, shall we? The word sit. Is the word sit offensive? Come on. Is the word sit offensive? Is it an offensive command for dogs? Leanne Vine says, good evening, Sue. Gary Marriott, good evening to you. Yeah, the challenges are good. So Steve Payne says no. Peter Piper says no. Gary Marriott says no. Well, let me read you something. This is from, I don't know if anybody has actually, has anybody heard of Mark Goldberg? Mark Goldberg. Have anyone heard of the Monks of New Skeet? Anybody heard of that? Not offensive, not offensive, not offensive. Sit is the most abused command ever taught to dogs. This is Mark Goldberg, is with Chad Mackin. Has anyone heard of Chad Mackin? Mark Goldberg and Chad Mackin. You can write what you want, can't you? You can absolutely write what you want. You can muller anything, can't you? Exactly, Gary. My dog wants to sit. Good evening, Harry. And that's the whole point, isn't it? That is the whole point. The Corleone way, when the dog sits, it gets something positive for it, doesn't it? Now, have you seen other dog trainers out there who haven't come in and followed the Corleone way? I'm not talking about people who are out there promoting their own way, but they've been with the Corleone gang. I'll go live if you want, says Gary Marriott. Well, I'm sorry, Gary. I mean, let's ask, shall we? How does he feel about sit up? Yeah, sit up. Let's ask, shall we, Gary? Who would like Gary Marriott to go live with me tonight instead of me talking shit?
Careful how you answer, everybody.
What do you mean, careful how you answer? I said me talking shit, not Gary talking shit.
That's what I said.
Me, come on, come on. Let's have some fucking feedback. Come on, let's have some feedback. Do it, go for it. Not Gary, can't stand him. Stop it. You're making you subconscious. Look at my fucking eye. It's funny. I can't help it. Sorry, everyone. I don't know. All right, let's go for it, Gary. Yes, said Tracy. All right, Gary, what I'm going to do I'm gonna.
Battery 100%. Connected to Upton's iPhone. Christopher's iPad.
I'm gonna call him.
He said he can chat shit with the best.
Good evening and welcome. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. How are you getting on?
Good, very good.
I've been watching.
Very busy.
I've been watching some of your videos you've been putting up. Lovely. Well, they're really good, Gary. Well done to you. Credit to you. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, credit to you. So, Gary, you've been doing this for how long now? Actually training people and helping people with their dogs as a trainer.
About 4 years, I'd say. I've actually been charging people.
4 years. 4 years.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know that, mate. Yeah.
For a good 3 years.
Yeah.
But being endorsed by you has like really helped. It's gone super busy, like really busy. It's getting to the point now where it's looking that I've got that chance to go full time.
Right.
I'm turning people away now because I can't physically fit them all in.
Yeah.
So it's that point where do I make that jump? Do I not? I'd love to, but it's definitely on the cards. But I'm really enjoying it.
That's really good. Good.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a nice feeling when you see the look on people's faces when you train the dog and you say, you know, try this, try that. Let's work on this, and you can turn their dogs around, and it's a great feeling. And I've got a dog in at the moment. It's been to me for I think 3 one-to-one sessions over the last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2 years old. So got a lot of pace in it. Got a lot of desire to retrieve and hunt. It's a lovely dog. It's not but it's potentially going to work it because he bought it as a pet. He's a retired police officer. He bought it as a pet. I don't know what the breeding is, but it's got a lot of go in it. So I would imagine it's pretty good. But he went down the route. He went to, I'm not going to mention his name. He went to a superstar trainer. It didn't really work out. He sent the dog to him for 3 days.
3 days?
3 days. He sent him there for a few weeks because he does travel a lot. So he sent him away for a few weeks, but the guy contacted him after his trainer contacted him after 3 days and said, I can't do anything with your dog. It's just out of control. And I don't know what happened. I don't know, but it's all of a sudden now it's like super submissive and just wheeze a lot. And it's not nice to see, but we're bringing it out of its shell with the gameplay, the Corleone way, and he's doing really well, to be fair. But yeah, it's a bit naughty, what some people do, as you know. But yeah, he's going to be all right, I think. But he's super keen. The is.
Yeah, but isn't it funny, Gary, that I've had exactly the same situation as you over the years. There's a lot of people out there who are very well known who take a dog in and it goes back to the person very quickly and says this dog's a waste of time. And so many dogs are getting wrote off as no good because I don't think that 3 days is enough to assess a dog, is it? I mean,
well, no. I mean, I've took him in board and train, and I did nothing with him. I did a little bit with him on the 4th day.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Literally, I just took him out. He's running around my dogs because he's got excellent recall. You know, he loves the game. He's got a stop whistle on him, and I just let him just run in and chase, and he just enjoyed it. I put a couple of videos up about him on my Facebook page, and a couple of people said, "Oh, you know, why are you letting him run in? Why are you letting him run in?" So
yeah,
I just want him to enjoy himself with me.
Of course you do.
I just want him to enjoy it. I don't want to be like making him sit and be regimental. I want you just go out there, boy, and enjoy it. Enjoy your time here. There's plenty of time. He's here for at least 3 weeks. Just to enjoy yourself. You know, first few days, I don't want to flatten him. I just want him to enjoy himself.
But the thing is, Gary, I see a lot of people peddling dog training videos on the internet at the moment, and all they're doing is obedience. They're not talking about, hang on, give the dog a mental break and let's build some drive and desire. Let the dog run in. Let the dog be a little bit naughty. Let the dog want to push the boundary before we start putting the control in. But you know how the Corleone way works, and you've learned over the years that you don't suppress a youngster and bore the shit out of it. And it's so important, isn't it? I mean, Michael McLaughlin says here, Corleone way is like taking candy off a baby versus those other clowns. And he's right, isn't he? Because it's a proven way of training, isn't it? But it's the opposite to what a lot of people have taught other people about obedience, discipline.
Yeah, they make them sit and wait for nearly all the retrieves.
Hang on, you just nailed it. Talking about, and Goldberg was talking about. He was saying the sit has become a dirty word. It's like there's punishment, sit, wait, stay, and all that. We don't do that to begin with, do we? We create drive and desire.
My dogs can't wait to put their bums on the floor.
Exactly, but for a different reason. For a different reason.
My dogs sit and wagging their tails. You've seen them. You've seen them in person. You've seen them on videos. Right, I'll get them out the back of the truck, right? And, you know, they know as soon as they put their bum on the floor, good things happen. So I call it a free sit. And, you know, I tell my client, it's a free sit. I don't even have to ask for a sit. Exactly. They are willing. They just want to get their bums on the floor because if they've learned.
Something is coming.
They put them on the floor, good things are going to happen.
Exactly.
They can't wait to sit. But that makes it so much easier if you want to stop a dog at distance, because it's like, oh yeah, I'll sit, something good's going to happen now. It's so much easier. It's so much easier.
It's like Sue, when she climbs into the bed, she knows something good's going to happen.
I can imagine.
But the whole point of it is, Gary, is people only look at the discipline and go, oh, he uses discipline, he uses corrections. They don't realize that 90% of it is the gameplay and building that bond between you and the dog.
Probably even more than 90%, to be honest, I think.
But that Jan says lucky Sue. But the point is, you have to have that discipline as well at the right time. It's knowing when to apply the discipline, Gary.
Yeah, definitely. But if you do it at the right time, the right level, and lots of people slate people like me for it, but it's information to the dog. It's pure information. That's allowed, that's not.
Yeah.
If you do as I say, when I say, you're going to have a great time. You're going to have the best life ever. But you must listen. You must listen to me.
Yeah.
I won't have you disobeying. But if you do obey, oh my God, you're going to have so much fun. And who wouldn't want that for their dog? Sorry to interrupt you. You're talking absolute sense. I'm not. Adam says something rude about me, just, and so I put him in 5 minutes timeout. Everybody, all right? What did he say? Sue, poor old Sue. I
was thinking poor Sue.
Poor Sue. That was what he was thinking. So I put him in 5 minutes timeout. So anybody can say anything about Adam that you want. He can't reply for 5 minutes. He's on the naughty chair. He's on the naughty chair. Yeah.
In the sin bin.
Yeah, he's in the sin bin for 5 minutes. I was triggered by that, Adam. I'm very sorry. sorry, Gary. I'm just being a bloody idiot like normal. Thank God somebody's come on to talk to me, because I tell you what, I'm thinking, what can I talk about tonight? I know what I'll talk about. I'll talk about what they're saying about the sit. And in some ways, they're right, aren't they? If everybody's using the sit as a punishment, like you will not move, you'll not go there, you can't do this, you can't do that. The dog doesn't see it as a positive, does it?
No, they bore the dog. They bore it to death.
That's it, bore the dog to death, yeah.
And they flatten it. When I was on a shoot last year, and I was beaten. A little shoot, that a big day for them's like 60 birds. So
All
your
right.
dogs I like it because your dog have to work really hard.
Yeah.
You're not tripping over birds. You have to work really hard for it. And they only got one picker up, and a young lad. I think she was 16 months old. And I worked this wood. Got me 2 dogs. I was working this wood through with other beaters, and we came out this wood. Whistle was blown. This guy who was picking up, he was near the guns, and there was this cockbird. It was a lovely sunny day. This cockbird was glistening in the middle of this field. You couldn't miss it. It was probably 50 yards ish out. I came out of the wood. Both my dogs had clocked it. I made them sit, and Bracken, my eldest one, he's looked at me. Just send me, Dad. He just looked at me and looked out. Just send me.
Yeah.
I thought, I'm not unbeaten. This guy, who was picking up, he walked. This bird, probably 50 yards out. He's got his black lab. He's walked out probably 20. It's about halfway, to be fair.
Yeah.
He's lined his dog up, and he's sent it. And no word will lie. I could have sent Bracken out, or Finch, the other dog at the time. They'd have been out and back 3 times quicker than his dog went out. His dog was the most boring plodder in the world. It limped out. It's 16 months old.
Yeah.
Bless it.
Yeah.
Picked the bird up, dropped it. Picked the bird up, dropped it. Picked the bird up, dropped it. Picked it up, walked, literally plodded back. Put it in his hand. And I'd got a client with me at the time because he picked his dog up, and we arranged it to pick his dog up, work on the shoot. And he looked at me, he went, "Oh my God, I can't believe that." And the guy came back and he said, and people said, "Oh, well done," whatever his name was, can't remember. And he said, "Oh yeah, she's ever so steady now. She's ever so steady." Oh my God, that dog was steady. Yeah, 16 months old. It was nearly dead.
Mm.
It was painful to watch. You want a dog to enjoy it. It looked like it was. Well, it was totally flattened, but
the thing is,
the
thing is, Gary, those dogs switch off from marking, don't they? They just see a bird down and they'll just look at it and then look away from it. And yet, a dog that's driven, a dog that's got drive but control as well, will sit there. You can look at it, you can see it's marked it. Would you rather have a dog with pace or go out in a straight line, straight out, straight back, or do you want a dog like waddling across the field and then freaking looking at other birds on the way back and all that sort of stuff?
I want my dog to go out there as fast as his legs will carry it.
Yeah.
And little Ren, my pup at the minute, she's 11 months old. She's going to season, bless her. She's struggling at the minute.
Right.
But she's an absolute lightning bolt. She goes out. Her legs will not go fast enough for her desire. She goes out so fast. When she comes back, she's running back probably faster back. Yeah, she's just gotta get this back, gotta get it back.
But don't you find, Gary, that's the fine example of what tells you so much about somebody's training? They come to you with a dog, they send a dog for a retrieve, whether it's a dummy or anything, whether it's anything they send the dog for. The dog goes out reasonably, picks it, and then walks back, ambles back. Doesn't that tell you that they've overtrained, overschooled, rather than building drive and desire?
Yeah, they took the enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
You want your dog to, to me personally, I want my dog to enjoy what it's doing.
Yeah.
Because then that gives me pleasure. There's not a finer feeling than taking your dogs on a shoot or whatever, and working with your dog as a team, and it's a joy. It is literally a joy. And when you get feedback from people, "Oh yeah, it was lovely to watch." People say, "Oh, it's lovely to see someone with well-trained dogs." I'm not trying to blow smoke on my arse, but it's a great feeling because you've succeeded. You know you've put the work in. You're getting that success, and you gel. In the bond you get with the dog is so much stronger. I don't think people who don't work their dogs, I don't think they'll ever experience the bond you get if you actually work it.
But also though, Gary, we talk about one of one of the few that actually talk about discipline in the gun dog world, don't we? Really? But
Yeah.
but when we give discipline, have you ever had your dog like show signs that I don't want to play the game anymore because you've given me discipline?
Never.
No, I haven't.
If you, and you, I'm not, no, I don't need to tell you, but if you give discipline at the right time, the right level, it can actually increase that desire. It can make it work. It works to your advantage. It's only information to the dog. If you overdo it, well, that dog will get in for ball and trade in a minute. That dog's had too much discipline.
Yeah,
Way too much, because it's shut down. Well, putting it up, I mean, his pace is great, but for example, today, because I've been moving dogs around because Ren's in season, so I've been moving her into the kennels in the garage and then swapping dogs in crate in the house, and it's been a bit complicated, but that's by the by. But she was in the kennel. I've got 3 boys, my 2, and board and train in the garden. My back door is pretty much all glass, and all I did was walk to the back door, look out, and this dog that's with me for board and train hit the deck near the back door, hit the deck, spinning round, back arched, tail tucked, pissing everywhere.
Yeah.
And all I've done is looked out the back door. Now, that is not a nice thing to see.
No.
Because that is a dog that is so scared to go wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't want that. I want a dog to think, oh my God, he's looking out the window. My 2 boys, they were out looking at me. He's like, come on, Dad, we've gone out. Because I was ready to take them out. To see that other dog like that, that dog has had, there's nothing wrong with discipline. We all use it, and it's a great thing. But that dog's got too much discipline and at the wrong time, and it's not suited the dog.
But the problem is, Gary, if we just go down the road of saying nothing and just doing what we do, out there on the big wide world web, everybody who is peddling the idea you can do it with love and affection and build a bond with the dog and give the dog everything the dog wants and it's your fur baby and you can throw food at it, they don't know what to do when the wheels fall off and it does go wrong and the dog takes over, do they?
No.
Because they've not learned how to use discipline sparingly at the right time.
But people don't know how to use discipline. So the people who are so against it have never used it. And they have no comprehension of how to use it and the results it'll get. So in the last year and a half, I've had 2 IMDT trainers come to me, the Institute of Modern Dog Trainers.
Yeah, I've
come to me.
Yeah.
Right, come to me for training.
Yeah.
And the last one, I got a boxer. It wasn't aggressive, but it was super boisterous. It was a big dog, jumping all over the owner, and it wasn't aggressive bite, but it was just like
dominating her.
Exuberant.
Yeah,
dominating her. And so she contacted me, can you help me? Blah blah blah. I didn't know she was an IMD trainer at the time, so she came along. I said, okay, give me a demo of your dog. I've got chatting. She said, oh, I'm a qualified IMDT trainer, blah, blah, blah. And this dog was jumping all over us, on a harness, long lead, about 10-foot lead, whatever it was. And it was jumping up. And in the first 5 minutes, it jumped up and ripped a sleeve on her coat.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, get your dog to sit. And she's getting to sit. She's chucking food on the floor to try and calm it down. And I said, this dog is not going to learn anything because it's just bonkers. It's going off. It's just jumping around. And then her adding food was making it even worse because the dog is already overstimulated and she's adding another stimulus, which is food.
Mm.
And it's never going to work. That dog's not going to learn anything because it's like, just absolutely bonkers.
But the problem is they've been brainwashed, Gary, haven't they?
Yeah. So I've given it. I says right. I want to put Ray's magic lead on it because it works wonders. Ray's magic lead, and anyone who knows Corleone way, I know what Ray's Magic Lead is. Put that on, I gave the lead, and I gave that dog a couple of pops on the lead, and I made it sit. It looked at me, thought, oh, yeah, you're in charge, aren't you? Yes, I am. Now you're going to listen. So then we started to introduce a bit of gameplay with it. And the dog was great. But then this cheeky woman is on her Facebook page and her website. She's trained her dog in a purely positive way. Well, she's not, because
she's come to you for help.
Yeah, because I stopped that dog being an idiot.
Yeah.
By giving it the correction of its life, and it wasn't particularly hard. It was firm, but it wasn't harsh.
But when you say, hang on, Gary, because I'm not. When you say correction of the dog's life, that sounds terrible, and that's
it
not.
Does, but it never had one before.
Exactly, that's what I was just about to explain to people. The correction of its life is because it's never had a correction, so it's like, wow,
exactly.
Where did that come from? And that's exactly what people don't understand, isn't it? If you've got somebody who is bullying, beating a dog, they come to us, we can instantly see that dog has been knocked back and suppressed and belittled to the point the dog is shit scared of the owner. We can see it, can't we?
Yeah.
We don't have to. We don't have to know that they've hit it. But it's horrible to see.
On the right level,
yeah,
will improve you.
But if people aren't out there talking about it and showing it, Gary, and actually showing the results and challenging the system, then how the bloody hell is people in the next 10 years going to understand the importance of understanding discipline? Because back to what Michael said here again, fine balance between over discipline and correction and being timed correctly. He's so right, isn't he? Because that is the whole emphasis of the way we train. The videos are there to show you dogs that. How many times have you seen videos where clients have sent in a video, Gary, and the dog is not listening to them, and they're having a fight with the dog, and it's like a bit fight with the dog and the owner. The owner's not being firm on the dog, but they're fighting with the dog and they're disciplining the dog. And I go, forget all that. Go to gameplay. How many times over the years have you seen me do that compared to, hang on, step it up, go in hard? It's not. It's the dog is having a cat fight with the owner. It's like two people bitching at each other, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
And we see it, don't we? With lots of people who come to us.
We discipline, like I said, but certain dogs, if they're going like bonkers, they're not going to learn anything at that point. So you need to bring them down so they can absorb something. But if you do it the right way, the discipline is a microscopic proportion of what you're doing. Because we're going back to that gameplay thing and getting the dog to want to sit, and it's like some people say that's punishment. I've had people say to me, "Oh, you're a control freak." I say, "Hold on a minute, I'm not. You look at my dogs. My dogs just want to be with me. I don't have to worry about recall. Right? Wherever I walk, my dogs are around me. They just want to be with me all the time. I don't have to worry, no matter what's going on. They just want to be with me because I am God. But I'm not God. I'm not a God they've got to fear."
Hang on, Gary. Hang on. Do you know what happened to the Beatles when one of them said he's bigger than God? Come on, be careful. Be careful,
I didn't
Gary.
say that.
You said you're God. You're God.
I didn't say that.
No, that you didn't say you're bigger than God. And top dog.
They just want to be with me
all
the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And I had a client the other day. It was a pet client. They've got, I think, 7-8 months old. It's a cocker dog, and they got no control over it. And it's been down the tree training fanny bag route, not worked. Dog's taken over. So took him to a training ground, and I said, "Right, show me blah blah blah." Literally no eye contact at all.
No.
None.
No.
Absolutely zero.
Even though they've been using food.
Yeah.
Weird,
nothing.
Isn't it?
Absolutely nothing. I said, "Get your dog to sit." It sat. I think the longest it sat was probably 2 seconds. I said, "Right." So I got one of my dogs out, Bracken, and got out the back of the truck. And he just got straight out the back of the truck. He just sat in front of me. And their dog is literally jumping on top of his back it's tried to hump him,
Mm.
and all he did was sit and watch me.
Mm.
And I said, I can't believe it. He's just not even. I said, you and your dog do not exist.
Yeah.
I said, no. I said, he's lucky he's not turned around and bit your dog because he doesn't take any crap back at home. I said, he just wants to engage with me now.
Yep.
I said, you don't exist.
Mm.
And I said, he had no food in his training. There's nothing wrong with food. I said, but he just wants to engage with me, and that is all. Every single bit of that eye contact you can see now, you're witnessing, is through gameplay and a bit of discipline.
But you just said something, Gary. You said there's nothing wrong with food, and then you went on. So what do you mean there's nothing wrong with food?
Food's good. It works, but I think gameplay, if it's done correctly, will smash food.
Without fail. Yeah.
My dogs will spit food out to get what I've got in my training bag.
Mm.
And I had a client, I think I sent you the video. I'm sure I put it on Corleone Talk. I had a client come to me and she said that she got a very food-driven spaniel. I was like, okay. So I took her to one of my training fields and I said, right, give me a demo, blah, 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 blah. And she turned up on my drive. She got a pouch. Well, she turned up with a foil package of warm chicken. She tipped it in a pouch. Come on, we'll go. We went off and went to one of the training fields. And I said, okay, just give me a quick 5-minute demo. So she showed me what she'd been working on. It was all food-based. And I got my training bag. And all I did, I got a paint roller. It got a bit of scent on it. So, I put a dead bird or whatever in my training bag with the dummies and paint rollers and balls and whatever. And this dog was on a long line, just as a precaution, because it didn't have 100% recall. It wasn't bad recall, but it wasn't 100%. So I said, put a long on it, just be on the safe side. So we weren't holding it, long line. And I said, right, call your dog. And she was shouting it, and I got a paint roller out of my bag, wafted it under the dog's nose, and I just walked across that field with a paint roller with scent. So, and that dog had only met me minutes before, and I said to her, that just shows you the futility of people who use food as, like, people say, use high value treats as for recall. It's not going to work. Because, I've got a paint roller out my bag that's got a bit of scent on it, and it's beat your food, your warm chicken breast straight away. And that's not even a bird.
I saw
a live bird.
I saw a James Penrith video the other day with a very ribby Labrador. I thought it was slightly ribby, right? The Labrador. So it wasn't a fat Labrador. It was a very fit looking Labrador, if anything slightly underweight in my opinion.
Is that the one walking past the two dummies?
Well, I think that was the same dog, but this was a different video. Right. And what he did, he said, you watch this. He said, this dog will work for me more than the food. And he threw out a piece of steak. The dog ran out, picked up the piece of steak, and brought the piece of steak back for him.
Right.
My dogs wouldn't. My dogs would eat the fucking steak if I threw it out. So my whole point is, Gary, I don't need to train a dog to ignore the food and come into me for the training. If I threw a piece of freaking meat out in front of my dogs, they would open their mouth and gulp it back as fast as freaking, like they're freaking starving. And my dogs don't show ribs. Right, and what I'm saying is, I don't see the importance of that. Raw meat to my dog, eat the fucking thing, not fucking bring it back to me. But it's funny how people look at me now with this dog with this. But and yet, if you've got a dummy in your hand and you've got the raw meat, I know the dog's going to freaking focus on the dummy because that's what we build, isn't it? Drive, desire to play the game. So it's a completely different thing. But if I threw a piece of meat out, the dog's not going to freaking bring it back to me and surrender it to me.
No, I wouldn't ask him to.
No.
But if for example, if I put my dog's food bowls patio in the back garden.
Yeah.
And they were ploughing through it. If I bounced a ball,
They'd stop.
they would leave that food
Of course they would.
and want to engage in play.
Yeah. Because it's everyday food, isn't it? They get it. They don't have to earn it. They're not having to have it spread out all day, right? But it's food time. But it's not the most important thing in the world. And it's the same with when a bitch is in season. I can call any of my dogs off a bitch in season. They won't carry on trying to ride her. They will come to me because I am the authority figure. But I don't put them in a situation like that to prove that I am the authority figure. No, you don't, do you? No. That's the whole point. No. It's the same as the sit and heel. When we want the dog to heel, we don't want a competition heel like a protection dog or a obedience trained dog. We want a dog to get our side, but we don't want to be falling over tripping over the thing, do we?
You see these social media, it's all like Malinois and German Shepherds and Dobermans and stuff, and it's the dog's head is like glued to the leg, and it looks amazing. Yeah, it does.
But is
it practical? No.
Yeah. But
it's not practical.
It is practical if you want to keep the dog focused on you and not distractions in front of you. But if you've really got a protection dog, you want the dog looking in front in case anyone attacks you or anyone's coming towards you. The dog is showing the position. But I'm not an expert in that area, Gary, and I'm not knocking people who use food for precision training.
No, it's a good thing. I said earlier, it's a good thing. Food is a good thing. But I wouldn't want a dog that close to me. I want my dogs. I don't want to be tripping over a dog if I've got a gun in my hand for a start. It's not safe, and I don't think in a real world situation it's practical. You don't want to be tripping over your dog. I like my dogs off me, slightly in front. I don't want to be tripping over them. I don't want them behind me. Some people do, but to me, I just want them in that position.
I honestly believe that if I was training pet people's dogs, I could show how to motivate a dog with food in a completely different way than I would not suggest doing it with a gun dog, because you don't want the same result. With the gun dog, we want them looking at you for the right reason. We don't want them looking at you for food. We want them watching out what's happening in front of us. We don't want them looking back at us as they dote us and they love us to death and they can't take their eye off us. We want them looking at what's happening in the field in front of them, don't we?
100%.
And then when we send them, we don't want to be screaming, get out, go back, go left, go right. And yet we still have to handle the dog at a certain situation if it hasn't seen it. And the dog goes, yes, I'll listen to you, because when I listen to you, I have a find. It's positive. So that's the good thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
If you're screaming, go left, go right, go back, go this, go that, and the dog doesn't have a find, eventually the dog goes, I'm not listening to you. You're a freaking idiot. You never freaking put me in the right place.
Yeah. Well, I was on my training ground. It's literally a mile from my house. So shoot that. So it's a working farm to shoot in the shooting season. And so he lets me go down there whenever I want. But there's a lady that goes down. She's got 3 pointers, and she used to pick up on the shoot, but she doesn't anymore. She's above that now, apparently. But she's a friend of the family, so she still goes down there to train her dogs, but she's not allowed there in the shooting season. Anyway, that's by the by. But I was down there training with my dogs, and she pulled up alongside me in a van, and a quick chat with her. And she said, "What are your dogs looking down there for?" I said, well, I've put 2 retrieves down there and they're waiting to be sent. So I've got Bracken and Finch. They just sat there, weren't looking at me. I was literally sitting on the back of my truck. Yeah. And these retrieves were down this ride, and they were just sitting there staring down there. So well, look at the retrieves. What looking down there for that? I said, well, that's where the fun is. That's where the action is. I said, don't want them looking at me. I said, they've seen me put them down there. That's where they want to look, because that's where the action is, and that's where they're going to get their fun. Yeah. And she was like, oh, I said, but then I don't have to handle them. Yeah. I said, if they're looking at me, they're not going to know where it's going to be. I said, then it might need to be handled. I said it's so much more efficient, you know, in a real shooting situation environment. You know, if I'm picking up with dogs, they're looking out where those birds are falling. And I've been picking up a few times on shoots, and people they're lining the dogs up for every bird.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting up, my dog's sitting in front of me, and I'm just going, get out. If it's, you know, but when that whistle goes, I can go, get out. And my dogs are marking multiple birds. It's straight out, straight back, straight out, straight back.
That's it.
It's bird in my hand.
Not swapping birds, not swapping birds.
But then, you know, I've got people next to me with a team of 4 labs lining each dog up. I've cleared my birds, and I'm walking back.
Mm.
And they've got more dogs than me. The amount of sniggers, you know, because I work on a few shoots, and, you know, you get chatting with people, and then you get a few cockers out the back of your truck, and you can see them thinking, but the same change they're doing when they're working, and they're smashing their labs. It's a nice feeling, to be fair, but that's all down to the way we train. Because they're marking multiple birds down. They're not looking back at me, straight out, straight back, straight out, straight back, boom, 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 boom.
But plus the fact, Gary, it's really important. That's the importance of letting the dog run in to begin with.
Yeah.
You're teaching it to get to the fall, aren't you?
Yeah, 100%.
And they don't realise that, do they? They don't realise the fine detail of why we look like we're going backwards compared to some people in training at certain points, but we're actually going forwards because we're allowing the dog to learn to get to the distance of the bird or the dummy.
Yeah.
And so most young dogs drop short. So there's a reason behind the madness, but the madness confuses people when you say to them, how come you don't let your dog run in? Has he ever run in? Oh, only when he's been punished. Well, hang on. Didn't let him run in to begin with, and then teach him not to run in. Because
many people do it.
Yeah, because the thing is, Gary, once we build that drive and desire, they'll want to run in. So we have to use that correction at the right time, and they go, right, got the message now. I can run in when you ask me to, but I mustn't run in when you don't ask me to. And that's the skill set, isn't it? Because anybody can suppress a dog. The same as a child, isn't it? You can suppress it and keep it in its bedroom. It's not going to come unstuck if it's in its bedroom, but you've got to let that child out at some point, and that's when the big wide world will test the child, isn't it? The same as the dog on the shoots, isn't it? Once you take them there, if you haven't trained them right, the wheels fall off, and we see it all the time.
Yeah, 100%. But you need to put that dog under pressure. I mean, I see a lot of dogs, you know, we build that up, we build that drive up, but then you need to put that dog under a bit of pressure. And if you have a dog that you don't put under pressure, that's another reason why the wheels can fall off as well, isn't it?
Would you? I mean, Steve's just said here, I reckon that lab has Corleone breeding in it because he is driven as fuck, right? At the end of the day, would you suppress a young dog and put the sit on the dog, or would you allow that dog to become really driven and really wanting it before putting the control in?
I would want a naughty little bugger.
Yeah.
At the start, like running. With Ren, I don't think I made I got what I call a free sit through, making it as soon as she sits, throw, retrieve. But I don't think I've never asked her to sit. I think I just let her run in for nearly 6 months.
So here's a great question. That's great what you just said. Here's a great question. Somebody comes to you with a dog that's absolute little bastard, right? But it's driven. Do you love them sort of dogs, or do you want that dog that's depressed, hasn't got no drive, no desire, doesn't want to retrieve, right? What's easier, Gary? The dog that's naughty and got loads and loads and loads of drive and desire, or the dog that is suppressed and been closed down?
The naughty little bugger.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
That's it's more fun.
Yeah.
For me, for the owner and the dog, it's a plus all round, because you can do so much with it. Trying to get a dog that's been shut down to that little dog Ruby, that little black bitch I over a year ago. I sent you some. I spoke to you about it because she'd been to a superstar trainer, and that dog, it took me 3 weeks to get her to go probably 10, 15 yards away from me.
Yeah.
That dog was scared to death to go wrong.
And it's sad to watch, Gary, isn't it? When we build,
It is.
when we know how to build drive and desire and have a dog really wanting to play the game, and all dogs will go wrong. But the whole point is people are missing the bigger picture here because they're being sold this false ideology that you've got to put in obedience. Out spaniels are mad. Spaniels, you can't train a spaniel if it's driven. It's an absolute load of shite, isn't it?
No. I mean, going back to that dog I just mentioned, who'd been flattened. I had it for five. Sorry,
I had said nothing.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said something.
No.
I had her for 5 weeks at that point, and it took me, I think it was at least 3 weeks just to get her to go 10, 15 yards away from me. And she was scared to death to go wrong.
Yeah. And
the plus side was I've never seen a dog sit so quick. She was just so scared. So we built it up. I just let her run it, tennis ball game, running, go. And
when you say tennis ball game, tennis racket game, or just tennis ball?
Yeah. Well, a bit of both, because tennis racket, she was right at the beginning, she was scared of tennis racket.
Crazy.
Anything over the top of her head, she hated it.
Yeah.
So if you swung the tennis racket over her head, she just hit the deck.
Yeah.
So it was just tennis ball, and she just built her confidence. Then it was tennis racket, and she just came alive. And then we just did that for quite a few weeks. But then we started to put the control in. And she just came alive.
Mm.
And the guy, he came to pick her up after 5 weeks, and he was like, he was like over the moon. He's like absolutely blown away.
They just don't believe the turnaround. It's beautiful watching their faces, isn't it? When you see them and you turn that dog round.
He messaged me last year just before the shooting season. He said, "Can you take her in for a couple of weeks and just sharpen her up for the shooting season?" I said, "Yeah, no problem." So I took her in. She just needed a little bit of polish because he just let a couple of things slip. But he's not experienced, so it didn't matter. So I just sharpened her up, and it was all there. It just needed a little bit of polish. And he came to pick her up, and he's been working her all last season. Absolutely, he ran me a few times, absolutely buzzing.
Lovely.
Literally on his like driving home. He's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe, I can't thank you enough, Gaz. We've been driving home. I've got to ring you now." So so much, people have been saying, "Oh, when my dog's done, blah blah blah." And he rang me yesterday, and he's that pleased. He's bought me a day shooting next year.
Lovely. So let me ask you this question. Michael McClock asked the question: how do you unsuppress them, Gary, when they come to you and they're just so not interested in anything and not got no drive and desire? How do you unsuppress them?
Well, that dog I've got in a minute, he's absolutely scared to death. He just weasels. So like I said, I just looked at the back door and it was weeing. So for the first 3 days, I literally sat on my back doorstep and I just let him go around the garden. And when he comes back to me, I've just fussed him and stroked him and cuddled him, basically.
Yeah.
And that's all I've done. And then I've been out today. I've done a little bit with him in the morning. I took him out this afternoon, and with my 2 boys, and he's absolutely gone bonkers for retrieving. Been doing some water work with him, and he's absolutely smashing it. I've let him run in. I said, "Get out," and he's ran in and he's beating some of my boys to the retrieves.
I think we've got someone on here. Sorry to interrupt. I think we got someone on here. A bloke called Steve Pace. He says, if you want to make them hard, feed them blue Smarties. I think he's thinking about Viagra, isn't he?
Is that what I call them now?
You want to toughen them up a bit?
I have a serious question for Gary.
Go on then.
How many people that you see keep up the work? How many people don't want to put the work in?
Do you hear that, Gary?
Yeah.
Go on then, answer that.
I would say, I think everyone starts off with the intention of getting a very well trained dog. And I think lots of people are surprised how much work it takes, how much input it takes. So I think lots of people start off on that journey, but then I think a lot of people, there's so much poor information out there. I think it's where a lot of people come unstuck.
But it's not rocket science, though, is it?
No, but I think there's so many of these silly, fluffy videos.
Yeah,
they show a before and after, and people think it's an instant result, and it's not. You know, it takes maybe hundreds of hours. You know, it depends on what level you want to go to, but it's not a quick fix. Some things are. Loose lead walking's easy to sort, quite quick. Recall, go. You know, if you've got, you know, I've had dogs come to me that have been like 4 years old, no recall, blah, blah, blah. It's been a nightmare on shoots. There you go, my dog's kicking off. The leases have come in there. But, you know, 4-year-old dog, and you can turn it around, but it's hard work. It's not going to be an easy fix. But I think some people think everything's quick and easy, and you can chuck food at them. But I think a lot of people are surprised how long it can take, and you can give them a time scale. Some people are more than happy to go through the process, and other people don't want to go through the process, but they are possibly the people who've watched too much social media and believe it can all be done with love treats and fairy farts, and it can't.
So what's the biggest problem you're seeing in general with the majority of people who come to you with a problem?
Too much freedom without control.
Right. So
they've just let their dogs do. They've not treated it as a dog. They've not put the. They've let it be a dog, and it's just made bad decisions. And then they try to pull it back, and then sometimes the dogs will retaliate.
Yeah, but when you say freedom without control, that is a little bit sort of a strange one, because I allow a dog to go 12 months without much control, but I let them have freedom.
You wouldn't let it go 300 yards or disappear outside and come back after half an hour, would you?
No, because we tap into that gameplay from the start, don't we?
Yeah. So they're letting their dogs
do what they want to do. Do what they want to do. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So, you know, dogs are going to make bad decisions. It's a dog. It doesn't know what to do. But it's going to make bad decisions.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had a guy, he came, I think we spoke about it on one of the Sunday Night Lives. And he came to me. His wife was following me on one of the cocker groups.
Lucky you.
She got in touch. Yeah. And she contacted me. So we've got a cocker spaniel. It was 3 or 4 years. I think it was 3 years old. It's 2 seasons of working. We just needs a bit of sharpening on his hunting. I thought, yeah, fair enough. So we arranged a time for them to come over. Turned up, pulls up on a brand new 4x4. Guy gets out, brand new tweed jacket, all the gear on. I thought, yeah, this will be all right. Just a bit of sharpening up on hunting.
Still there? Well, it looks like we've lost Gary. Where's he gone?
Right.
Oh, he's back again. We lost you for a second. I can hear you now. We lost you for a second.
Oh, that's right. So I said, right, get in the truck. We'll go off. We'll took to this wood. I said, right, can you hunt your dog down this ride, all through this cover, and we'll just see where you're at with your hunting, and we'll take it from there. So he's let his dog off, and it's just disappeared. It's gone. It was 70 yards away, because it is winter time, so there wasn't much cover, but it just literally disappeared through the wood.
Yeah.
And I said, call your dog back. Oh, no, he won't come back. I said, you what? He won't come back. I said, all the people on the shoot that I've taken one, they're all saying he's brilliant because he flushed all the birds.
On his own.
He shouldn't be out there on his own, should he?
Yeah.
He should be round here with us hunting.
Yeah.
Oh no. He says all the dogs on all that I shoot are really well behaved, and he said they're all like this, and he said that everyone says how well he's doing. I said, yeah, but he's out of control. I said, call him back. They said, well, he'll call back after a while. He's come back when he's flushed all the birds out of this wood. I thought, yeah, the fucking gamekeeper's going to look at me, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to do this corner of this wood, not the whole wood.
Yeah.
We've got a shoot here in a couple of days. So he eventually got the dog back, and I told him a few home truths, and I just said, look, I said, you know, the dog didn't even look at him. They had zero eye contact. And I said, we need to turn this dog around. I said, you need to give that dog a little bit of discipline. It's going to need some firm discipline to get it switched on to you. I said, it doesn't need you. I said, it's wild. And he said, well, I don't know about that. I says, well, I'll tell you now, you're not going to turn that dog around without some discipline. And he wasn't happy about it. He said, my wife would never allow that. I said, well, there's no real need for you to be here then. I was quite blunt with it. So we booked him for an hour. Well, it was an hour plus, told him an hour plus, probably 90 minutes for an assessment and blah, blah, blah. I think it was there for half an hour. I didn't even charge him. Right. I just said, look, I think I just took the wind out. When I told him the reality of the standard of his dog, there's no point pussyfooting around. I wasn't harsh, but I was straight to the point.
The only problem there I see there, Gary, is you've only just met him and now you want to discipline his wife. You said his wife wasn't happy about discipline.
No. But yeah, so I didn't even charge him. I just said, I took him back and I said,
but exactly what Michael McLaughlin says. You give him the truth, and that's what it's about. Because we're not wasting our time, Gary, if they're not willing to put the work in and understand that you have to show leadership at the right time, don't you?
You do, definitely, 100%. Otherwise, you're not going to get anywhere. You're definitely not going to get the dog you want, especially with a working dog. It's just not going to be. You can't do it all with love treats and fairy farts.
Yeah,
it'd be lovely if you could, but you can't. I mean, I see the that IMDT. I think it might be Mike Evans put it on the Corleone Talk. That IMDT, the Gundog training. You could become a Gundog trainer in under 4 hours.
Yeah.
For 55 quid.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Exactly.
Never. It's never ever going to be. But it's these.
It just shows, Gary, doesn't it? The qualification doesn't mean nothing, does it?
It means nothing at all.
No.
It means, and these people are swooning. Oh my God, you're IMDT accredited.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean nothing. Nothing at all. Zero.
But I saw somebody the other day with a load of. Gotta be careful here. Yeah. Let's just say some ladies. Let's just say some ladies standing, and they've all got certificates for doing this.
Oh yeah,
training day, and they absolutely cheesy grins on them, like, "Wow, look what I've achieved." And let's be honest, it's a piece of paper. It means nothing if there's no accreditation behind it and no standard. And that's the problem with all these people offering. Instant gun dog trainer, become a dog trainer, instant gun dog trainer overnight. You can join in and I'll show you how to promote yourself and make money. Anybody can con people. But the problem is it will work for a few weeks, you'll make a little bit of a living, and then it will just dry up because people will not come back for more. The importance, Gary, is the customers that come back, you don't ask them to come back, they ask to come back, don't they?
Yeah. 100%.
And you don't need to beg people for business, do you? And go, I'll change my ways and become a food-based trainer just so that you will love me in that area. And then with other people around the corner, I'll say, hey, yeah, but we don't use food all the time. Sometimes we use discipline, but don't show anyone because my food-based training will go out the window. The business, it's all about marketing. It's not about marketing. It's about conning people, isn't it?
It is. I mean, what gets me is the people who say, "Oh yes, I'm accredited, this and that," but who's given that accreditation?
Exactly.
Who's given it? So how can you be a Gundog trainer? That course said 3 hours 45 minutes. That's less than 4 hours. And they're putting the stops on dogs, and it covers all these bits and bobs. It's like, what, in 4 hours? You're going to learn all that in 4 hours. And then this is for trainers to go and teach other people.
But the thing is, Gary, I could show people, I could give people 30 books on dog training, on gun dog training, not just dog training, about how to train a gun dog, and none of them train the Corleone way, because it's old-fashioned training, old school that it used to be, and they haven't moved on. They haven't experimented. They haven't tried other methods. You mentioned about food, and food can be a good thing. I agree 100%. At the right time, food is a primal motivator. But overused is no different than discipline. The same as play. If you allow the dog to take over completely, the dog will take over and want to play its own game, not your game. There's a skill of being a leader without being a bully. And leadership is really important, isn't it? But it doesn't mean you have to be a dictator.
No, that dog will love you for it, though.
Yeah, and love you more for it, because they see you as the leader, the strength in the pack.
Yeah, but people don't want to. They don't want to see it. They don't want to see it, I don't think, because I think the vast majority of people think if they just use treats, that's it. If I'm giving a dog food, so it'll just love me. It won't. It'll just think you're a vending machine and don't care about you. It doesn't need you for anything apart from, it doesn't need that food because you're going to give it food anyway. So what you're giving it doesn't mean anything. It's just irrelevance.
But the other thing as well, Gary, if you don't watch other methods of training and you don't listen and educate yourself, and you just go, this is the way I've learned, it works, I'm not doing anything else, I'm not opening my mind, I'm not looking at other ways. I've always had this open mind that look at everything, but evaluate it. Try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But don't try and flog it if you're just trying it, because it might not work.
No.
But the difference is, if someone said to you, Victoria Stilwell is a god of training, dog training, what's your opinion about Victoria Stilwell?
I think she's a fraud.
Yeah, exactly. So would you
follow
anybody?
Zach George.
Would you follow anybody? Would you follow anybody who was advertising Zach George or Victoria Stilwell as a trainer?
No.
No, I wouldn't. And that's not being nasty. That's being totally honest about the way we train and what we know, compared to, we know Victoria Stilwell's a fraud, and we know Zach George is a slot on the internet as a salesman, isn't he?
It's all about money.
So yeah, it's all about sales. Yeah,
it's about money.
Yeah,
but people buy into it because they want to believe it, and people will just like is it Absolute Dogs? Do you remember that? They're all over the internet. Blah blah blah. It's sexy than a squirrel, and all that shit, right? And I messaged them because they're putting all these. It kept on my Facebook feed, and I said,
"Is this after when they were exposed or before?"
This is before. Yeah. So I said, have you got any videos of yourselves being sexier than a squirrel?
Stop it. Right. We've got a comment here.
And all their followers, yes, I've seen these videos. Yes, of course they have. They've done this and they've done that. Blah 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 blah. And they all are getting absolutely battered, right? By all their clients, and say, oh yeah, of course they have. Yes, they have. I've seen the videos. But then they fucking reply to me for everyone to see, we don't currently have any videos showing that.
Yeah.
But all these people were adamant that they had seen these videos, but they didn't exist.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to believe that it was true.
Yeah. We've done it, Adam. We've done it, Adam. We've timed him out. We've timed Malcolm McLaughlin out because somebody said, Adam, someone says here that you fancy Victoria Stilwell. And then Michael McLaughlin came in and said, well, he's better looking than Chris Upton. She's better looking than Chris Upton. So he's been timed out for 5 minutes as well, everyone. Gary, we can have a laugh at the same time as being serious, can't we? I mean, that Adam Hudson says Gary fancies her. What if your missus heard that? What if your missus heard that about Vicky?
Terrible.
About
Terrible.
Sticky Vicky. Yeah, Sticky Vicky. Yeah.
No, it's all like crap. I had a message last night. It's kind of linked to the TV sort of thing. I had a message from this woman on Messenger, and she said, I've got this aggressive 6-month-old cocker. How you get an aggressive cocker, I don't know, but I seem to get a lot of these inquiries. I said, okay, I've been given your number by a lady called Jo. So I said, well, who's Jo?
Mm.
And she said, she's with the production company for dogs behaving very badly.
Yeah.
I'm like, right. And she asked me a few questions. And I said, I'm sorry. I says, is this a wind-up? I says, I'm getting a bad vibe about this line of questioning.
Mm.
And she went, oh, no. It's not dodgy or anything. She said, I got in contact with the production company who are doing this dogs behaving badly, whatever it's called. And the woman who's this Jo, she works for the production company. She said, what you need to do is check out Gary Marriott on such and such, and he'll help you out because he deals with these aggressive dogs.
Right.
Well, so I said, well, why don't you ask that Graham Hall, who's on the TV programme? He's the super duper trainer.
Mm.
And she said, well, they said that he'd only come to me for a day and he's unlikely to sort it out in a day. So it's probably not the sort of thing they'd want to pursue. But she gave me your number. So she's like up in Durham. She's like 3.5 hours from me.
Mm.
She said, well, can you come and help me? I said, well, yeah, I can. I said, but it's going to cost X amount of money because it's like, well, 3.5 hours there, 3.5 hours back.
Yeah.
Frame in between. It's like a whole flaming day.
Yeah.
I said, I can do it, but it's got to be worth my while. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, there's so many people so desperate out there, and because they've been led down this garden path by people like Victoria Stilwell and Zach George, it's all possible. Everything is possible with love trees and fairy farts.
But that's it. They're just fanny bag trainers, aren't they? Flooding the dog, trying to get attention from the dog. But actually, they're overlaying the behaviours, aren't they? They're missing the bigger point, the finer point. You've got somebody made a comment here, and I think you should hear it because we want the negative and we also want the positive. Good, straightforward chat, Gary. Loved your honesty. Genuine trainer who loves dogs. Respect your mate. Steve Morton. Nice. That's what we're looking for from people when you talk honest about it, isn't it? Because let's be honest, if you went in the big wide world web and started talking about discipline and correction and how this food-based training has gone crazy, and yet why are there not 90% of really well-trained dogs out there, Gary, if everyone's using food, when in fact there's probably 70% of bad trained dogs and people aren't using discipline and they're not tapping into gameplay. The importance of building something that the dog just desires so much it wants to be with you for that reason.
Yeah, it's about getting a bond with the dog.
Yeah.
It's that bond is so important. If you haven't got that bond, you've got nothing. You've got that foundation, you have nothing.
Yeah.
And like it's going back to people I've had come to me for training, and the dogs don't even look at them. They don't. The dog doesn't need them for anything. And you try and you tell them, you take the wind out the sails, but the difference is with Victoria's anything there.
The difference with Victoria Stilwell is she's getting the dogs to look at her because she's using the food, but she's not changing the mindset of the behavior. She's just focusing the dog on her with the food, with the fanny bag. Where a gun dog trainer, we are teaching the dog to look away from us most of the time, not look at us until we ask them to look at us. And that's when we stop them at a distance. We want them to spin around and go, what do you want me to do, Dad?
Yeah.
Or Mum, we'll send you left, we send you right, we'll push you back. You've listened to me. There's a positive for listening to me. We're not suppressing when we blow the stop whistle and ask them to look at us. We are building drive and desire. Look at me, something good's going to happen. I'm going to push you left. I'm going to push you right. I'm going to push you back. Where people think, blow the stop whistle, dog's got to sit, else you're going to go out and give it an hammering. No, we're giving it a positive for sitting, but we're teaching it under temptation, under pressure, that when I tell you to do it, you do it. I don't care where you are, what you're doing, even if you're chasing. There was a video up the other day. I'm not going to mention who it was. They put a video up and they got a lot of likes from the pet world, Gundog world. And the video was, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, and I'm not going to cause any shit, but there was 2 geese in the field. Set the dog, stop the dog, set the dog, stop the dog, set the dog, stop the dog. And like everyone, oh, fantastic, unbelievable, unbelievable, unbelievable. No, what's fantastic is send the fucking dog, let the geese take off, because they take off slowly, and blow the fucking stop whistle when the geese are fucking taking off. That shows real control.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between a Gundog person who knows what they're talking about and somebody who is saying, look at my dog, isn't it wonderful? And that's not being nasty, that's being totally honest. But people don't want honesty. People only want, yeah, well done, lovely dog, fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. In our group, I'm the first person, as a trainer, as a person who shows you how to get your dog to a good standard, the first person to sit there with a tear in the eye when I see how wonderful you got your dog, to a level that I'm so proud of, that I think, bloody hell, good on you. You've listened, you've learned, you've moved forward. And I would give you all the credit. And you know myself, Gary, in that group, I give credit when credit is due, but I don't fucking suffer fools gladly. And I don't say you've done well if you haven't done well.
No, but look at Joe.
Yeah.
Joe the other day.
Yeah, absolutely lovely.
That was good.
Wasn't it wonderful to watch his little face and the dog loving it, enjoying it, and yet it didn't show him up. It went like a rocket, didn't it?
He messaged me because he said, oh, you know, he's asking me how you like register. I says, you know, it's normally on the day, just turn up, register, and like do your stuff. He was a bit nervous. And I said, look, you will not embarrass yourself with that dog that you've got now. You because training, you know, the way we do, you will not embarrass yourself. And he went to that country show and he's come 4th on his first playing story.
Yeah.
And he said to me, he messaged me and he said, I said to the bloke, this is my first ever one. And he said, yeah, pull the other one. He says, I bet you've been going to all these bloody scurries all around the country. He says, your dog's not going to do that on this first ever scurry. He's come 4th. But that is down to letting that dog enjoy itself, running, get that pace up.
That's it.
And then put the control in.
And then put the control in, because we've got a comment here by Alistair Brown. Teach them to stop and sit and stay when they are young. Makes it muscle memory, like they train soldiers. You are not then stopping the drive. I disagree. I disagree. That's not the Corleone way.
Not when it's young.
When they are puppies.
When they're puppies. When they're puppies.
I mean, Ren, she's 11 months old, and she has stopped on a few birds, but she's chased a couple, and I haven't put the proper stop on her yet. She's 11 months old.
Yeah, but if a dog does it naturally, that's up to the dog, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if you tell it to stop and it doesn't stop, then you've created a problem. But if you're not enforcing it, then the dog parks its arse. You know, that's the dog's choice, isn't it?
Yeah. But I was going to put the stop on her, but she's coming to season. I thought, I'm not going to do it while she's in season. There's no point.
Do you know what I would do when she's in season?
What's that?
Put her away and give her a break.
Well, I have done. She's done nothing for at least 5-6 days.
Yeah.
So nearly a week.
Yeah.
I took her out today. She loved it.
Yeah.
I did a few videos for my Facebook page.
Yeah.
And she absolutely smashed it. She loved it, but I think she's peaked now. She's coming back down.
So
not showing it.
So sorry guys. So at the moment, then you're on Patreon, Facebook, are you?
Yeah.
Are you on YouTube as well or not?
No, not at the minute. No.
Not at the moment. And you're based in Leicestershire, aren't you?
I am. Yeah.
So you've come through the Corleone training. You've been with us for a long while, and I've accredited you in the group as one of our accredited trainers. And there's only a few, but the people who have really put the work in, prove they can train a dog, prove they can work with people. And at the end of the day, you've now gone on your own. So you're in the Leicester area. And
I am, yeah.
Are you taking any dog, or are you just taking Gundogs? What are you taking? In case anybody is interested.
I'll take Gundog breeds. It mixed mostly, I would say, probably at the minute it's probably 70% Gundogs and 30% pets.
Yeah.
But the pets, I don't do the fluffy training. I will training. So it's breed specific. So, it will be Gundog training, very little food, but we're tapping into that gameplay. It's the Corleone way. So, I don't use any food for my dog's training at all. Occasionally with a client's dog, I may do. But like I said, I've had people come to me with dogs that have said are very food driven, and we've just smashed it with gameplay.
So do you use the place board much?
Very rarely. I've never used the place board for
your own dogs. Yeah.
No. The dog I've got in the minute, I have used a place board with him because he's got a tendency to go past you and run round you.
Yeah, get him to focus in front of you. Yeah.
So I've used a raised place board. So when he jumps up on top of it,
hang on. You let that slip there. It sounded like a raised place board. You mean a raised place board, not one of Ray's leads, magic leads? No.
It raised.
I thought for a second he was designing place boards. Yeah.
No, it's a raised one. So it's probably 18 inches, 2 feet high.
Yeah.
And he just jumps up. So they won't go off it because they don't want to fall off.
Yeah.
But it just forces them into your chest, into your stomach area.
And the other thing is, do you use an e-collar under any circumstances or never?
I've got an e-collar. I think I've used it probably. I've used it 5 times in 2 years.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying. But you've got the tools. You know how to use the tools because you follow the Corleone way. But at the end of the day, it's not
a go-to thing.
Of course it's not. But it's a tool in your toolbox. If you really need it, you'll use it and use it sparingly like everything else.
Yeah.
I
mean, the last time I used it was a few months ago, and that was the dog that had literally no recall.
Yeah.
And it came for an assessment, and I put it on the long line, raise like biathane one with a slip collar.
Yeah.
And it had no recall.
Yeah.
They told me it was only 2 years old, and it was chucking down with rain. We went through this gate, and it pulled, and it just slipped the flaming. It was pulled out of my hand. And I've chased it across 2 fields and through a wood.
Yeah.
Right. And I've managed to get it. And she says, "Oh my God, have you got it? Have you got it?" And I was in the wood. And I said, "Let the dogs out. Let all my dogs out the back of the truck." So she's let my dogs out the truck. They've just heard me come bombing into the wood. Thinking, "Oh yeah, where's Dad? Yeah, we're having a great time in this wood. It's full of pheasants." And they come flying up to me, and then this other dog on the long line
came back.
Yeah, came back. So I just got it, took it back to the truck.
Yeah,
that was like an assessment for the board and train.
Yeah.
So I knew what I was going to get. So we put it on the e-collar, and to be fair, it didn't really need much on the e-collar.
Exactly, that's the whole point. But that's a good subject.
On the long line, and the e-collar was a backup.
It just enforced it. It just enforced it once or twice, and then the dog got the message. Yeah.
And then that dog now, and they've messaged me. They're over the moon with it.
So what made you decide to go over to an e-collar on the very odd occasion then, Gary? Why?
as a safety feature.
Right.
It was
so,
just a backup.
So let's ask you a question then. You've obviously seen Rafa, the cocker videos that I used, the dog that used to bog off completely.
Yeah, I loved him.
And how fast I turned him round with an e-collar.
Yeah.
And he used to go after sheep, and how fast I turned him round with an e-collar. And yet, I never destroyed that drive of that lovely little dog.
No, and now he's living on a sheep farm.
Yeah, and we'll go in the field with the sheep and not even think about going after them.
Yeah.
And such an easy-natured dog, and yet he got into some bad habits, and that e-collar at the right moment sent the perfect message. Now, there isn't trainers like us talking about this, Gary, out there on the internet, gun dog trainers, because they fear they'll lose business. And like you said earlier, I can't do it all. I'm getting inundated with people. I can't take it all on because, you know, you've got a life of other things to do as well. And it's so important for people to understand that somebody who feeds you bullshit, who can't show you how to train a dog, ain't helping you at all. You want to see results. You want to see the dogs they're training. You want to see the problem dogs when they've got the problems and how they turn them around. And yet, you've followed the Corleone way and you've gone out and got an e-collar. No one's asked you to. You've made that decision because of the positive results and the way that I train with the e-collar, that you've gone, bloody hell, this is a tool that you sparingly at the right time is a real asset.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's in some instances, it's the only thing that's work.
Well, it's a get out of jail card, isn't it? If the freaking line breaks and the dog freaking don't want to come back, that'll turn that dog round and bring it back to you. But we don't want to use it like that.
No.
We want to educate, but it's also a big punisher if we really have to, and we can teach a dog, no, don't even look at the sheep.
Yeah,
and that's the difference.
I mean, I've used it mostly for gun dogs that have chased deer. So I've used it in that instance, and it does really work for that.
But sorry to interrupt a second. We've got a guy in here called Alistair Brown at the moment, and he says teach them to stop and stay when they're youngsters. Make it muscle memory, like they train soldiers. You are not stopping the drive. And then he goes on, and someone explains to him that's what we don't do at Corleone Gundogs, right? And then he goes on and says, "You are not getting this?" ? I have a Labrador that would win the greyhound race because he has so much drive when retrieving. Well.
Connected to Christopher's iPad.
Are you still there, Gary?
Yeah,
yeah. I think you need to enter him at fucking Hackney. Trap one. Trap one. Put him in fucking trap one if you've got a Labrador that fucking beat a greyhound. But you're missing the point, Alistair. You've come on here. You've given your opinion. Everybody's entitled to give their opinion. Why don't you send us some videos? Sounds there. Look, Adam just said it. Alistair, sounds brilliant. Send us some videos. He read me mind, Adam. Because at the end of the day, no one's saying that you can't teach a young dog to sit. But if you teach a young dog to sit and it isn't a driven dog, how do you know whether you're suppressing it or not suppressing it if you don't know the temperament of the dog? And all dogs develop like children differently. Some kids excel at school, don't excel at university in the same way. Some kids excel at school and excel at university. But how do you know if you're suppressing an 8-week-old puppy to sit and wait because you're putting memory muscle into it and then trying to build drive when you've suppressed it from the start? Each dog is different. And I want to debate with you, Alistair. So perhaps next week you could come on and have a debate with us about how you teach them to sit with muscle memory at such a young age and don't destroy the drive. Because it's a bit like soldiers. They used to beat soldiers and beat them into submission. Now they want them to be thinking soldiers. So hang on, which soldier are you talking about? Are you talking about old school soldiers? Like, right, lads, climb up the ladder. We're all freaking charging forward. You're all fodder. Or are you talking about soldiers that they want with a brain, that are taught not to shoot instantly? They're taught to be peacekeepers. because a peacekeeping soldier is completely different to a soldier that's been taught to run into firing oncoming fire. So I'm all for talking about it, Alistair. I've not seen you on here before, but we're entitled to question what you've said. And you said, teach them to stop and sit when they are youngsters. Make it muscle memory, like they train soldiers. I don't quite agree with it.
Not the stop, no. Letting them run in, yes, at a young age, but stop, no.
Yeah, Michael McLaughlin says he said he'd buy the Labrador if it's faster than the Greyhound. but it has to be in a straight line and not on a circle track. Because as we know, Labradors are straight line dogs. Greyhounds run round a circle or an oval as such. But we're not having a go at you, Alistair. We're just questioning your judgment. Sorry, Gary. Go on, mate.
That's fine. No, just listening.
Yeah. So I was. Yeah, go on.
If it's if someone's got a different way of doing things, I'm all ears. To be fair, you never finish learning. I'm not saying our way, my way, whatever way is best. If there's another way of doing something and it's better, then I'm happy to change. To be honest.
Yeah.
You never finish learning. Every dog will teach you something different.
And that's one thing we've never done in our group. We've never turned away anybody with a difference of opinion. All we've done is try to show them the way we do it. And if you're not happy with it, come on doing what you're doing. But at the end of the day, people come to us with, you've seen it over the years. So many people have been misled, haven't they, Gary? That's the biggest point about it, isn't it? They've been totally misled.
Massively.
By comments like what Alistair's just said. And yeah, I'm all for what you're saying, Alistair. You're entitled to your opinion, but I have a right to disagree with you in a friendly manner. I mean, my wife, she's terrible. She said she's been drinking. She said she's so uncouth. Honestly, Alistair, you just, at the end of the day, everybody's entitled to their opinion. What I like with Gary, he speaks his mind. He says it the way it is. He could have shied away from saying he's got an e-collar. He could have shied away from saying he uses an e-collar. Why? Because some people might pull away by listening to this and thinking he uses an e-collar, he uses that. But what he said was sheer sense. I've probably used it 5 times. And that's the difference. If you're using an e-collar all the time, what are you? I'm an e-collar trainer. Fuck off, you're an idiot. It's simple as that. Yeah. If you're an e-collar trainer, you're a fucking idiot. Because an e-collar in the right hands is a brilliant tool. But to somebody who does have no understanding, you'd never put an e-collar on a puppy, would you?
I mean, Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, go on. Yeah, you stopped. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, you broke up a bit. I didn't hear the last bit you said.
No problem. Carry on, mate.
Yeah, I mean, any tool can be abused.
Yeah.
You see people with all these bloody halters and harnesses, and it's just, to me, they're abusive, because I've never seen a dog walk properly in one yet. And, people like say, oh, the slip lead's abusive and it's aversive and blah, 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 blah. I don't use anything but slip leads, even for a pup.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't use anything but slip leads, nothing at all. But I get my dogs, when they're pups, just to want to follow me around. So they don't really get to pull. They don't understand the concept, because they're just around my feet. They just want to be near me.
Yeah. But
people, it's going back to that, too much freedom without control. People give them too much freedom, and then they have to rein them back. And but it's not suppressing anything. But the chasing is a different thing. That loose lead walking, I don't even. My dogs are not very often on a lead, to be honest, because they're in the back of the truck off the drive. Then we go to fields and they're out the back of the truck. But they do need to walk nicely on a lead. It's one of my pet hates. I don't want a dog like choking itself. But some of the people who come to me, they're literally, the dogs are being sick. They're choking that much. And they've been chucking food on the floor and all sorts, trying to stop them. But it don't work. It doesn't work. But Ray's magic lead and a bit of guidance, it soon sorts them out.
So if you train a dog the way you train a dog, and you don't put the stop on the dog too soon, and you create drive, and you teach the dog to run in, are you comfortable on stopping that dog flat out on a rabbit if a rabbit bolts? Do you have to? I got to blow that stop whistle as fast as possible, or could you let that dog chase that rabbit and then blow the whistle, and the dog would stop, look at you, and go, "What do you want me to do, Dad?"
I could confidently, with Bracken, 100% stop him, no problem.
Yeah.
Finch, 90%.
Yeah.
He's not been on many rabbits.
Yeah.
I don't get many rabbits around here.
Yeah.
And Ren, she's 11 months.
Yeah, she's a baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah. But what I'm saying, Gary, the reason I said it is we are allowing them to chase. We're not suppressing them as youngsters. We're not putting the stop on them and building a memory training on them at such a young age. We're teaching them to run in. We're teaching them to go on movement. But then when we ask them to stop, they'll stop sharp on anything they see drop out of the sky, won't they?
Yeah. But that's going back to making the sitter positive.
Exactly.
So the dogs want to sit. So if you get your dog wanting to sit in front of you to get that tennis ball, it's so much easier to get them to stop at 50, 100, whatever yards. They want to sit because sitting makes good things happen.
Yeah, definitely.
If I've sent my dog for a bird that is, if I'm picking up or whatever, if I'm rough shooting and, something gets up, I can stop that dog if I need to. But I can also handle it. I can do whatever I want with it. But the dog wants to sit. It makes it so much easier.
So have you ever been on a shoot, Gary, where you've sent your dog for a retrieve that's yours, some other freaking idiot dogs come running across and you've gone, and your dog's just stopped, spun around, looked at you, you've gone away, and the dog just runs straight back to you?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Times. I teach that because, as you know, lots of dogs on shoots, they're not very well behaved. And I don't want my dog getting conflict anyway.
Exactly.
So if my dogs are bringing a bird back to me and I've had it a few times and other dogs come barreling over them, smashed into them, trying to get the retrieve, I'll just say, leave that, and they'll just drop it, and I'll get them to come back to me. Leave it. I don't want them to get into conflict of ripping the bird up because I don't want my dogs involved in that shit. Then the gamekeeper can go and sort that other person out there, shit dog, to be fair.
So I want to ask you a question here because Michael Clockton says something. Some bit of a skill to call a dog off a chase takes more than cheese. I don't think it's difficult myself if you train the way we train, because your dog automatically breaks and goes, right, you want me to do something else. But I mean, he's joking about cheese. He's right. We're not talking about cheese. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's, and I'm not being derogative, I just don't think it is that difficult as long as you build it in the sequences that we show you. If you don't allow the dog to chase in the first place and you put the control into the dog, the day the dog does have a chase and have success, you start to go backwards.
Yeah.
That's the difference, isn't it? Because we are building, if you stop, there'll be something else happening that you'll enjoy. So, not being funny, on a shoot, when you want to shoot and you send your dog and it's going out flat out and another dog's going for it, you blow the stop whistle, it stops, it looks at you, gone away, it comes back. That's a very rare scenario compared to getting a positive for it, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So that's exactly the point, isn't it? I mean, I think Michael was saying here, some bit of a skill to call a dog off a chase takes more than cheese. The sitter is the trigger, says Steve, for something the dog wants, and it is. It is if you train with food, says Michael. Yes, Michael, you're dead right. If you train with food, then it's a completely difficult job doing what we do, and we make it look easy because it is easy. Because it's not difficult. It's called dog psychology. If it's like a child, the child likes to play. You don't have to teach a child to play. A child will play. It's a normal thing for kids to get together and play. You don't have to teach that. What you have to teach is control. But the difference is you don't teach a kid in nursery school control like you would want in a university. And yet, look at universities these days. Kids have become so self-opinionated and judgmental and triggered with the slightest thing that upsets them. They're coming out of universities because someone has said something in the lecture that has triggered them. The society has become freaking so stupid with get a set of bollocks, learn.
Handle pressure.
Yeah, you can't handle pressure. You need a safe space. You need a safe room. You can't talk to me like that. You can't.
The whole world's getting too soft.
Exactly.
That's why everything is a trigger. Everything, but that's the thing that's going wrong in the dog world as well. People are so offended by this, offended by that.
Yeah.
And people and dogs are becoming so fragile.
Yeah.
Because they haven't got the rules, haven't got the boundaries and the structure, and they just fold because if they're not taught to cope with pressure, slightest dogs and people I'm talking about, if they aren't taught to cope with pressure, when they do encounter pressure, they fold.
Absolutely.
They can't cope with it.
Spot on. Absolutely spot on. And that's the whole point. By doing what we do, we actually toughen them up, don't we?
Yeah. Well, you see some of my videos of my dogs, and you've said, "Hey, God, you're putting your dogs under some pressure there. Make them sit and wait, and sending another dog, and then another dog, and making them wait." But they need to be in that scenario. You have to build up to that, but you need to be training that sort of thing because they will be under that kind of pressure.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to put them in that scenario because in the real world, where you work in them, they're going to have to deal with it. If you don't train for it, it's going to go wrong.
But it must be nice though, Gary, having someone who's done it as long as me and is so straightforward talking, who says it the way it is, who's been successful in competition, who's been very successful at teaching people, been very successful at running a business, who can honestly say that you now can train a gun dog to as good a standard as I can. Isn't that wonderful? Even though you haven't gone down the competition route, that I can endorse you as a trainer to say, I would gladly hand you clients who come into our group that are in your area or they want to train with you as an accredited trainer.
Well, I'm I don't think I'll be able to train the same level. I haven't got the experience as you, but I'd like to think I could train dogs to a very good standard.
Yeah.
But I've always got you to fall back on. If I've got a problem, and I have contacted you in the past, and I've got, and said, look, I've got this dog, blah blah blah. I've not encountered this issue, but you've given me guidance. But that's all part of the group. We all support each other.
But just listen to that, everybody. Just listen to that. That's how humble. Although Gary is being successful out there helping people, if he had a problem and he wasn't sure about, he would pick up the phone or text me and say, or send me a video. That is how humble he is. And that's the importance of our trainers. That's the importance of people who, if they reach a stage where they're struggling with a very difficult case, and Gary doesn't need to contact me on a regular basis, but out of the blue, he wouldn't hesitate to pick up that phone or message me and say, Chris, look at this video. What do you think? Am I seeing the same thing? That's not because of real inexperience. That's because he's bold enough to say, am I doing it right? What do you think, Chris? Could it be any better? How could I improve? That is the great thing about the group. That is what this group is about. It's not about egos and bullshit. There's many people who's come into our group wanting to become an accredited trainer, and I would love to say we've got 30 accredited trainers up and down the country, but unfortunately I can only accredit you if you've got that skill set, you've shown it, you've put up the videos. Gary is now busy building a business for himself and promoting his own videos. Do I have to worry about that? No, because at the end of the day, Gary openly has said the Corleone way has helped him understand what he's doing and taking him in the direction he's teaching. That to me is a real plus point for the group. I just want to. We've gone on 1 hour and 39 minutes, so we've gone over. I'd just like everybody to give their opinion who's in here. We've only got 16 left in here, but give your opinion about tonight's chat. I've read a few of them saying thank you, a really good chat tonight. Really enjoyed it. This is what I like. I like talking to people, but I don't have to be talking to people who agree with me or they are flogging the Corleone way. Gary doesn't need to flog the Corleone way. Gary could go out there and just say, I know how to train dogs. I don't need to endorse the Corleone way at all. But I take my hat off to him because he's been loyal to the group, as well as I'm an independent trainer and this is the way I train. And I think that's a credit to Gary. And I really thank you tonight, Gary, for your chat. And you've got,
thank you, Chris.
You can
Start me on.
You can read the comments here, Gary. The people in the group, the same people who reply on a regular basis, are endorsing you 100% and said they thoroughly enjoyed tonight. I've thoroughly enjoyed tonight. Some live feeds when I bring people on, I try and keep the conversation flowing and I try and make an evening of it. But sometimes I then watch it back and I think, nah, I didn't enjoy that. They held back or they didn't say, they didn't perhaps give a full account of what they feel or whatever. Whether you disagree or agree with me, I'd rather have honesty. I would rather have honesty. One thing Gary's done tonight is said it the way he sees it, and I take that off to you because he could have easily pretended that he doesn't use discipline, he doesn't use correction, and he only uses love and affection, and he would have brought in more and more people. But at the end of the day, he's being totally honest, and I take me out of him for that because that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in genuine people who say it the way it really is, and they say, this is how I learned. Because if you can't endorse the people who put you in the right direction, then I don't think you should be learning from people. If you're not got the balls or bollocks, as we say, to say that's how I learned and that's how I put my head down and mastered the art of training. That doesn't mean you have to be 100% the same as the Corleone way. I'm not saying that, everyone. I'm saying you have to build a foundation and you have to have success. And what Gary has done, he's built a foundation. He's followed the group. He's been like credited for the group, and he's taken his own steps in his own direction. And with that, he's had success. And the reason he's got success is he's being honest, open, and he's getting results. That's the biggest thing. Getting results. Take me out after you, Gary. Well done, mate. Thanks for the chat.
Thank you.
All right, mate.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah. Cheers.
We'll do it again.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Nice
Gary. Good night. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Are you still there, Gary? Have you gone?
He's gone.
He's gone.